While that's doing, I'll let...
Into a gray screen, so it's not looking.
Gotta make sure that we're actually live on Twitch.
Your sound is duplicating.
Are you sure?
I have
Sounds
no
like the
idea.
music is duplicating.
I've got adverts.
That might have been duplicating through the desktop audio. Yeah, I normally have that stuff turned off, so that's why. So. Hello, we're live. I think we're here. Yay. Just waiting on Dill's foundry to load.
This is weird.
It's Dill being Dill. But we are live and we're back. We're back for some D&D. Been a long time. Nutty's here, Grim's here, everyone's here. Great. Just give me a second, guys. Got a couple things got to check out here. All right, so let me know how you're getting on into Dill. Dill.
It's the same.
It's just a gray screen.
Yeah, it's like the gray like little checker kind of looking thing. That's really tiny with the like vignette around the outside.
Do you have a what browser are you using firstly?
Chrome.
That's what we're all using as well. Try using a different browser.
I will open up Firefox.
And do you have anything like a dark filter or anything like that?
No. I have that all turned off.
Okay.
Firefox. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any lag on my preview end, Mr. Neon. What's up, Vancouver? just bear with us for a moment, guys. We're having American technical difficulties.
Americans. Hopefully.
Excuse me.
There's a little thing in the bottom that says waiting, transferring, waiting, transferring, waiting, transferring. So
That's interesting. Don't normally
that's
see
promising. Well, it's for Firefox.
that. He's an American, but he can't. Yeah, but he American't. Well done, Grim. But anywho, while we're waiting to see what happens with Dill's Foundry connection, the other option is connect to Foundry before you start video in the future. So that is an option that you could look at. I'm not seeing any lags. It's all you guys. It's all on your end. So I'm not seeing any lag at all. And the only net connection I'm getting that I'm seeing that we're having issues with video is actually Sticks, funnily enough. Sticks is in the red, whereas everyone else is in the green.
I may have to try to
I'm
load
seeing my
Foundry first.
image up there looking blurry.
Yeah, shut down video, Dill, and try loading Foundry first and see how you go with that.
Okay.
And come back. We've got a bit of time. So yeah, so we are back with our WaterDeep stuff. Erico with the sub Prime Gaming. Thank you most, Eric. What's up, JJ? So obviously, you guys you will see there is no alerts or anything like that on the yeah, there is no alerts for the D&D. It is what it is. Ziggy, what's up? Magic, how you doing? So if I miss a follow or anything like that, I do apologize, but I will try and address that sort of stuff during the break or at the end, because I can check my activity feed for that sort of stuff. But yeah, so while waiting for Dill to hopefully sort out his minor issue, we have been on a bit of a break with the D&D for multiple reasons. One, Grim was moving, firstly, and now that he's relatively settled in his new place. We were supposed to get back into it last week, but then I was sick. So I've been sick for 2 weeks, so that's why we didn't play last week, which is why we finally here this week, finally able to get back into it and play. So hopefully Dill's technical issues fix themselves and we can get in, because it says that he's in Foundry on my Foundry list, so hopefully he can actually load. This is the issue with obviously playing with people from all over the world and internet issues, and Americans have shitty fucking internet, so much like the Aussies as a general rule. But failing that, this is WaterDeep Dragon Heist. We have played 7 sessions and a one-shot, which was kind of tied into this as well with those characters. So this will be session 8 if we include the one-shot, which is pretty much exactly what we're doing. So moving forward from this, we're going to complete WaterDeep Dragon Heist. I'm going to take a short break. Then I'm going to reorganize my schedule for the D&D, and we're going to organize another adventure which will be played at this stage more than likely alternate Sundays, which will be running opposite my home game of Paradigm 2. So it'll be alternate Sunday nights. I will be calling for players in due course once I have sorted this next adventure out. I will be offering the first spots to the current players of this campaign. So for those of you guys in this particular campaign, if you are available to play every other Sunday night, and this will be the adventure that I was going to carry on with you guys after WaterDeep anyway. So you will be given that opportunity to say yay or nay first if you wish to have a spot. It will be played at 7:30 starting time, or 7:30, 8 o'clock starting time New Zealand. So that for you, Neon, that'll be like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. So it might be a little early. I mean, up to you. Ultimately, it's up to you guys as players whether you want to put your hand up or not. It will run for approximately 3 hour running time. So 7:30, 8 o'clock through to about 11 my time, and it'll be again every alternate Sunday, which will just make it a whole lot easier for me to manage against the other campaign. It will run from level 3 to level 15. We're going to start at level 3, not at level 1. So obviously those players that join it will be able to create that character. I'll give you the usual restrictions for homebrew character, what classes or races that do not suit the story, all the usual crap, and we'll go from there. Okay, Dill must be having some big issues because he is still not back. Although he is in Foundry, so interesting. Come back, Dill. Let's message him in Discord and see what's going on. In the meantime, Neon, what you got going on at the moment? Let everyone know what's happening with you over on the Twitch, or here on the Twitch.
What's happening with me on the Twitch is, hello, I'm Neon. You will notice that there is a slight difference in the label name on the screen here.
Oh yes,
and
yes,
my
I haven't fixed that
username
yet.
in the chat, which is this little wave down there with the SYTW on the end. So we have a little business called Showing You the Way. Which if you do go and check out that Twitch channel, you will find many links to many wonderful things. But we will be going live at UK time 7 p.m. tonight. We will be continuing our story streams where we're in the middle of Fallout 4. And Saturdays we're doing spooky stuff where Pumpkin Panic has been a thing. And moving into probably Alien Isolation next by the sounds of things. And as well as that, we do challenge content through Dark Souls. We've been doing some breakup streams between the Dark Souls with Doom. And I'm looking to add in a community night where people can come and join in and play some
Apparently still loading
various games.
And I forgot that my bot's not working, so no shout out. Yeah, he's just getting that same grey screen. It's so random.
Maybe his new net still isn't enough to.
Well, that's even with them not bringing the video. But it's just not. It's just not loading. That's really random. Like everyone else was able to connect. Like really. I mean, you got how slow was your guys' connection to it when you loaded up to? I mean, Nutty's will be fast because she's right here, so don't even make a mention.
We're good. We're good.
You good?
Yeah, it's just taking forever to load. So it's loading the poster map right now,
Okay,
like the
awesome.
background.
Cool.
So
It just took a while. Cool. Okay.
yeah,
Good.
it was just dumb.
So your internet's not as good as you think it is.
I don't think it's necessarily my internet because I tested it and I'm still sitting at like 900 up and down.
That's random as fuck.
It's weird.
It could be a browser cache thing too, which does happen sometimes with Chrome. So you get right. So we can put you back in here. All right. So we're good chat. We're good to go. Ziggy with this Prime Gaming sub as well. Thank you very much. Here we go. Dill's back. Look at that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these guys to reintroduce themselves because I feel like we're almost starting again a little bit. So before we kick off the recap from previous episodes, we will just go around quickly and get everyone to reintroduce themselves and their characters, starting with Mr. Grim Realities.
I play Elliot Duskborn, elderly tiefling who doesn't give a shit about what people think of him.
And he's a warlock.
Yes. That too.
Next up, we have Not Tart.
I am a human druid who tries not to be seen too much.
What's your name?
Oh, yeah, no, Jane. Jane Smith.
Jane
That's me.
Smith, like Mrs. Smith, you know? Mrs. Smith. And Mr. Neon.
I'm bringing you the entertainment in the form of Droplet, the Kenku monk, who, as you will probably remember, has a bit of a knack for getting into places he shouldn't in ways he definitely shouldn't.
Yes, Droplet, the Kingu. Next up, we have Mr. Sticks and Stones.
Hello. Yes, I'm playing the half-drow paladin. Now currently with my subclass, and I am playing Xirxes Devrain, though that may not be his real name either.
lots of shady shit going on with this group. And lastly but not leastly, Mr. Dill Cripple.
I'm Dill Cripple and I'm playing Dags, the wood half-elf rogue that doesn't talk much.
No, he's very quiet.
He's very quiet.
Yes, Droplet is a kinky monk, exactly. You got it right. And Dill with the sub as well. Thank you very much, guys, for the support. Appreciate it very, very much. So with that, we will kick off our story now that everyone's here ready to go. Last we left off, which was some time ago, the group had received a letter from a potential benefactor / ally asking you to travel north to a town called Beachburton to aid the Cabell family in dealing with a problem. Arriving at the village, you travelled 3 miles or so up the moors to the Cabell Manor's grand house overlooking the village proper. Finding evidence of a possible magic use at the gates, which were melted and twisted, you were met at the front door by the master of the house, one Aethon Cabell, whom, after a brief standoff, invited you in and told you the story of the manor and his ancestors' deal with the supposed devil. After a while, you decided that it was time to search the family crypt and scout for a potential ambush site at the house itself. The crypt, though empty, held a darkness that hung heavy in the air. The family coach was then moved into position in the front of the house, where you lay in wait. As the mists formed on the moors and the sound of a large beast was heard from the fog, a hellhound appeared and attacked the house. You launched your attacks, wounding the creature, forcing it to run off. At that moment, a blood-curdling scream came from the interior of the house. All but Droplet pursued down towards the crypt, which doors now hung open after being relocked after your previous visit. Droplet scaled the house to find Aethon Cabell bludgeoned and bleeding in the baby's room, and the baby's crib was empty. Ensuring his survival, he then leapt from an upper window to join the rest of the group as you entered and descended into the crypt below the manor, where you found Berry, the housekeeper, scribbling something on the floor in the center of the crypt. As you confronted her, she holds in her hands Henry the child and then transforms into her true self. A winged devil produces and reads aloud the contract that was made with one Richard Cabell, the ancestor of Aethon Cabell, citing that it would be futile to kill her if she would just return in due course. Zirxes initiates the battle. Elliot releases the darkness within him, shifting into a fearsome form cloaked in shadow. Zirxes succumbs to Yeth's power and collapses. Although you all fight well and Yeth is on the verge of death, she gets the last laugh, casting Fireball upon herself, which results in Dags also succumbing to his wounds. With Dags and Zirxes both lying motionless on the floor of this crypt, Droplet during this time comes to realization and flees from the crypt to raise the manor to the ground, believing that the manor is the key to the contract with the Cabells. And indeed, it turns out that this was the case, as the house burnt to the ground and freed the Cabells from their supposed contract with the devil Yeth. As Dags lies motionless, Elliot reaches out to the darkness within him and gives into it, which allows him to bring Dags back from the brink of death. Zirxes also manages to resist the pull of death himself and is also returned to the land of the living. Now Dags, I don't remember we discussed this or not at the end of that particular one shot, but because you have tasted death or been on the verge of, you, along with Zirxes, now, I would say sometime between traveling from the Cabell's Manor back to Waterdeep, you noticed a small black butterfly that seems to stick with Zirxes. Just seems to float, it's not there all the time, but just every now and again, this almost like a shadow of a butterfly seems to flutter around Zirxes, not unlike an aura of sorts. But you are now, let's say, almost attuned to that, and you also see it. Just out of the corner of your eye, and as you turn, it's not there anymore, but you just, on occasion, you now see this small butterfly. Once you've been dealt with that sort of thing, the Cabells then, you helped the Cabells return to town, where they put you up at the local inn. They paid for drinks and food. Elliot receives a message from Yeth stating that Cabells are free from their contract and vows revenge upon Droplet in the process. We now return to Waterdeep, where Jane has been overseeing the renovations on the Trollskull Manor, but it seems there is a guest at the manor. Maybe an unwanted guest, as many of the workers have reported hearing voices and things moving on their own. Jane, you've also experienced a mysterious voice calling for closing time and last call. You've also heard plates and glasses fall from shelves that they could not have fallen from. Though you have not seen it, you've definitely heard it and seen the aftermath. Mysteriously, a ale barrel burst of its own accord, apparently, spilling an entire barrel of ale into the cellar, which obviously needed to be cleaned up, as you are in the process of renovating the Trollskull Manor to be returned back to its former glory as a inn and ale house. So essentially, this is where we rejoin you all now. Zirxes, Droplet, Dags, and Elliot, you have returned to Waterdeep. Your carriage has dropped you off. You've made your way back through the streets to Trollskull Alley, back to the Trollskull Manor. There are many workmen still working around. It is probably about lunchtime as you arrive. There's a lot of workmen around. The interior is abuzz with activity. The sound of hammering and sawing as old boards are replaced and new floorboards put down, windows being replaced and such, things being cleaned. As you enter the place, you see Jane in the main area talking to a large half-orc man, appears to be like a foreman of sorts, just giving him some instruction as he then takes off nods and moves off and carries on with his whatever his tasks may be. So essentially, I'll turn it over to you guys now as you rejoin Jane at the Trollskull Manor. Jane is not aware of your... she was aware that you were headed out to this place, but she's not aware of what happened at the Cabell Manor. Jane, you did get the letter. You know that they was going there to help somebody. You just weren't entirely sure what they did.
I mean, it is possible that Droplet was quite in tune with the situation, but I do fear that he might actually just be an arsonist. I think we should keep an eye on. Oh.
Oh, welcome back. How did it go? Did you find what you were looking for?
Ashes?
Yes, we're getting paid. We got paid.
You got paid.
How long has it been? It feels like it's been a lifetime.
Couple of days.
It's been exciting.
Only a couple of days.
Do you need food?
I think I speak for all of us when I say absolutely.
Pretty sure
I
we
know I
can.
need some rest.
Oh, no, your room's fine. Your room's ready for you, Xerxes. The rest of us is an area upstairs that's ready now for rest. And food and drink I can organise, although one of the workers seems to have been throwing the plates and the glasses around, which I've had to talk to the foreman about. Not very pleased about that. Playing pranks. So
I hope you're taking it out of his paycheck.
I can organise. Pretty sure I can get some food and drink organised if everybody wants.
Absolutely. And I think if we go on one of these ventures again, I think you should come with us.
Oh, definitely.
We really could have used you. It was quite a thing.
Is everybody okay? Anybody need any?
I'm a little sore. I could use some rest. I don't know about you over there, Dags. Look a little bit worse for wear.
I've been better.
Okay, you guys go and get yourselves organised, and I'll send food and drink to wherever you are.
I like to be on the other side of that, you know?
Oh, and wherever those flying plates were, make sure I'm not near them. Just one of them hits me and I'll probably go down again.
Do you need some?
You guys would have had a long rest after coming back from Cabell Manor, so you're back to full health, just so you know.
Okay.
Just
To
to,
be full
Getting ready
health
to
of a
heal some
man with
people.
half a face.
yeah,
I mean,
so just for context, I probably should have said that. You guys would have spent the night before coming back. I did give you guys all a long rest in Foundry, so you should all be at full health and everything. So,
Mine isn't, so I'm going to click
isn't
the
it?
button.
It should have. I'm sure I fixed yours.
I was just about to offer to go and
I
find some
didn't fix
healing
yours.
potions.
Maybe, yeah. Take a long rest, Xerxes. I was pretty sure I got it right. Maybe you're the only one I missed.
I'm like,
That was my bad. That was a poor DM. But yeah, so that was you did take a long rest. So you're well rested.
must be this place. I feel so much better.
See,
And it's at this moment, as you guys are discussing this and talking about the renovations and stuff, you hear a almost like not a blood curdling scream, but more of a holler of a young man from the basement, from the cellar area. And suddenly one of the workers comes running up from the cellar, white as a sheet, a young human worker, pale as pale, and just runs from the place. Doesn't even stop to talk to you guys, just runs through the place, out the front door and up the street, and is gone.
that's what I'm talking about.
That'll be the third time that's happened in 2 days, Jane.
Droplet has already drawn his katana and has sprinted down the stairs.
That's like the third time since you guys have been gone that that's happened.
That's like the third time Droplet has just ran downstairs. I don't know.
He just buggers off wherever you like.
Perhaps we should just
Little screams and runs.
So we'll stay with you guys just for a second. Xerxes, I'll get you to roll the first roll of the night. Roll an insight check, please, with advantage. So if you don't remember how to do it, you should be able to hold A and click it. If it doesn't,
A, but it didn't work.
if it doesn't do it, just roll it twice. I probably should have done it on my thing. I forgot I still
It
got
might
that
have
up.
disabled.
Natural 20.
It changed all the settings. I
Oh,
went back in.
okay, so you might have to redo your settings now that we've swapped IPs. But a natural 20 coming up there. So guys in the chat, if we get a natural 20, we do have natural 20 emotes. We got the natural 20 emote. It's spamming there, and also every sub. We've had what 4 subs tonight. So you guys have you players have advantages. You've got 4 advantages to choose what you use them on. So as a group, you can choose who takes those advantages, but you currently have 4 advantage rolls to choose from tonight. They have to be used tonight. You choose when they're used. You guys track them. So at the moment you have 4. We've had 4 subs tonight. So if you think you need advantage on a roll, and I will allow you to roll it after a failure on a roll also. So you can use that advantage after knowing the result of a roll. So with a natural 20, Xerxes, you immediately, your mind is cast back to your discovery before leaving the Cabell Manor of the entity Leaf that is supposedly haunting the Trollskull Manor. The things that Jane has spoken about lean heavily to the discoveries that you found and the information that you've discovered yourself. So you are well aware of what is exactly going on in this moment. Droplet, as you tear off down the stairs into the cellar, which is well lit, there's several lanterns been lit, the renovation's done, the cellar's been cleaned up. You descend the stairs, and what you find is nothing out of the ordinary. You rip around the cellar, you see nothing, you hear nothing, nothing's out of place, nothing's broken. In fact, it's actually eerily quiet in the cellar.
Are there any plates or glasses in this room?
There are many supplies in this room. The Jane has seen to it that the stocks have been organised, ready for the opening of the manor, which will be in maybe a week's 4 or 5 days' time. So there's food stores, there's ale, there's wine, there's obviously plates, cups, cutlery, all that sort of stuff has been stored down here ready to go. So there's plenty of that sort of stuff in here, but everything seems to be in its place.
I will collect a glass and a plate and some cutlery, and I will arrange them on any shelf or table I can see nearby.
There is definitely shelving available that you can do so. How are you arranging said items?
In a roughly neat, to be seated at this location to eat pattern.
Okay.
At which point, Droplet will walk away from it.
Just turn and walk away?
And now he'll keep watching it, but walk backwards away. Stealth. And watch it.
So he's going to roll a stealth
stare
check.
at it.
Roll a stealth check.
Wait, am I doing that on D&D Beyond still?
On Foundry. So this is all
Foundry.
this is beef through Foundry. So yeah, let's roll it from your Foundry sheet.
This Foundry sheet.
I can actually do it for you. Make it a whole lot easier.
I believe I'm there.
There we go.
But, you can roll it.
In the chat. I forgot that's a thing. It's been a while.
That out. Move it away. Aha! Just the normal. There we go. Click.
Yep. So just the normal with a 15. So as far as you're fairly stealthy. You step back, watching the plate, watching the place setting. You get about 12 feet away from it and you just stand watching it. And I'd say about this time, if the rest of you were going to follow Droplet down to the cellar, now would be about the time you'd be starting to descend. So are you guys going to follow Droplet, or are you going to... We'll carry on with your guys' conversation beforehand, I guess.
Should we follow him?
When we were here last, I sensed a spirit.
Oh, fuck.
That would make sense, yep.
I'm
should
not
definitely
getting
follow
any.
him, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting any sort of sense or idea of whether or not this spirit means us any harm. It seems to be more something that is just left behind.
It's going to hurt our person. He keeps destroying the cutlery, though.
Well, it seems to be that they might be repeating the things that they did once when they were leaving and breathing. I do have some things that I could possibly try. I just might need some time. And to get a bit more understanding of why this spirit is still here and what it wants.
I mean, all for friendly entities. Just as long as they stop wrecking the place, costing money.
Fair.
You guys can probably head down and let Droplet know. I might just go back up to where I last detected and see if I can't tell if it is around and if it is intelligent, can speak with me or not.
All right, Dagwood. Jane, let's go before he sets fire to the place.
Elliot,
It's fire.
your dark passenger, shall we call him at this stage still, with your newfound connection to him and your connection to Dags, as it seems, the moment you spoke Dags' name, you get a flash. Dags, what are you currently thinking of? What is just a surface memory? Just what is going through Dags' mind at this very instance with what's being discussed?
My lantern, because I like that when he said in case he doesn't burn it down, went back to the lantern, the house burning, and
Yes, yeah. So, Elliot, you get a flash of the hooded lantern that Dags carries from his perspective, not from your own. It's like almost like you're seeing through Dags' eyes for a split second, but it's more like a memory. As you spoke his name, it just sort of comes in a flash and is gone. That headache, that pounding headache, sort of follows briefly and then subsides as well.
To the cellar. It's this way, right? This way? Yeah.
So, who's going to the cellar? So, Elliot, Jane, and Dags going downstairs to fill in Droplet on what is happening. And Zirxes, where are you headed? You headed back upstairs to where you last sensed Leaf.
Yes.
I would have heard fire and hot-foot it down the stairs. Because that's not happening here.
Rightly so. So, to give you guys a little bit of context on the cellar, as you head down the stairs to meet with Droplet, the cellar itself is an odd shape. As you descend the stairs, there is, from the bottom of the stairs to the back wall is about 15 feet. You've got a little bit of an L-shaped alcove in that area, that 15-foot area. From there, if you looked immediately to your left, you got about a 20-25 foot space. Then it turns again into another area which is about 20 feet wide and about 40 feet long, which is where all the ale barrels are stored. You got your ale barrels and your wine barrels. To your immediate left below the stairs is a single door, which is Zirxes' bedroom, which is where he wanted to be situated. He wanted to be in the cellar, so there's been a purpose-built room to give him privacy down here. The door is closed. You're not able to see in it, but the space, because of where it's built, you can easily see sort of roughly it's about 15 feet by 20 feet, 15 foot by 20 foot room. So it's a good sized room for a single person. Gives him his privacy. There is another door at the end of the cellar which leads out onto the rear of the building. The door is only a single door, but it is wide enough for an ale barrel to be rolled up through. It's got a ramp leading out to the street, which where deliveries and that can be made. There is also almost like a double sliding set of doors, but more like large window, which is also designed to allow things to be loaded in via a small crane, a small retractable crane, which is designed for, again, ale barrels, crates and such to be loaded in from the rear of the building. Have a good one, JJ. So that's basically what you're seeing down here. It is well lit. There is 3 or 4 lit lanterns down here. They're not torches. They are closed lanterns. Obviously dealing with flammable liquids, so you don't want to have open flames down here. So they're all closed oil lanterns, which can still be dangerous, but less so. They provide a decent amount of light in this area. Plenty of storage stuff, as I said, with Droplet coming down. There is obviously food products. There's plates, cups, and knives and forks, and pots and pans, and ale and wine. Everything you'd need to run the inn. That stuff's been down here. The cellar is quite cold, and purposely so, because it is obviously under the building. It keeps a lot of this stuff for a lot longer than it would in general storage. So what you see when you come down, what did you roll on your stealth check? It was a 15, wasn't it? So looking at your guys' passives, I would say that Droplet is sort of situated himself next to the stairs in a bit of a shadow. So none of you actually see him as you come down the stairs. You are unable to sort of see where he is. But your passives are high enough to see that on one of the shelves, especially you, Jane, because you've probably overseen the setup down here anyway, you notice a place setting on one of the shelves. A plate, a cup, knife and fork, just neatly placed on a shelf, as though someone was ready to be seated to eat, which strikes you as odd.
That is not normal.
So Droplet, you're well aware that they've come down the stairs and this is happening, by the way.
Do ghosts get hungry? I'm not sure that they do, nor would they set themselves a place at a shelf.
No. Where? Jane's gonna have a look around, thinking, where is Droplet?
So pause that noise, because we're not inside now. You're not going to hear a lot of that noise from the outside. So Jane, you look around looking for Droplet. Okay, yeah. So you will need to roll a perception check to see if you notice him or not. Natural 20. Jane's druid eyes are very clear, and as you sort of look down, you're standing on the stairs and you look directly below you, and you see the blinking white eyes of Droplet just below you in the shadows, just beside the stairs.
Droplet, what are you doing?
You just hear this low, raspy shh. He does not take his eyes off of the place setting.
Did you do that? Please tell me that you did that.
You don't hear much from Droplet.
Did offer us food. Maybe he's hungry. A weird
might be
place to
hungry.
eat.
This is true. Did you want me to put some food on that plate for you?
He's a bird. Do we have to chew it up first? Is that
No.
no?
No. Maybe some grain, bit of corn.
Broken. He's not. Usually he makes some sort of noise.
Ah, hang on. Are you hiding from something?
Droplet nods if you are able to see this.
Did I see that?
I mean, you're
You should
looking
see
directly at him. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, now that even though you've rolled your stealth, like she rolled natural 20, she's looking directly at you. She can see you.
At least Jane would be able to see with that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Okay. So at this point,
I
I'm
think
going to turn around.
everyone else would by this point as well, because they're all sort of
Obviously,
coming down the stairs, and I mean, you're not completely hidden in shadows. You sort of step back into a darkened, sort of slightly darkened space. With Jane literally talking to you, the rest of them would be able to notice you as well.
I'm just going to say to them, I think he's hiding from something. So we'll just shh as we come down the stairs.
I mean, you've made enough noise that the shush doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, so we'll just carry on thudding down the stairs and then we'll stop.
So you all head down, and again, as you sort of all peer around the room, nothing really stands out down here that's out of place, except for that place setting. Obviously, Jane, you notice that. Everything else appears to be where it was left. You do probably notice a damp patch where the ale barrel had previously broken and been cleaned up from the previous day. It probably does smell a little bit of stale mead, stale ale down here as well because of that. But apart from that, everything's in its place. Everything's fine. Do you remain down here with Droplet watching the plate, I guess?
I'm going to go back upstairs.
You're going to head back up?
Yep. But,
Elliot?
okay, you do what you need to do and see you later.
Elliot, do you follow suit or do you remain?
Sort of look at Dags for a bit. Sort of waiting for him to say something, but not wanting to like talk to him at the moment because I'm still a little bit spooked. And I'm like, I'm gonna go upstairs. You can stay here with Droplet.
To touch on that again, as you're focusing on Dags to see if he says anything. You specifically see a thin thread of shadow that is drifting out from you. You sort of look down. It's not like it's attached like at the chest ring, but it's drifting. It's sort of drifting from you. It's a very fine thread of shadow, almost indetectable. It's very, very fine, very slight. But you specifically see it, and as you again focus more on Dags, you see it drift out from you and connects with Dags. And as you're sort of focusing on him, that fine thread thickens just slightly and emanates again that same darkness that you felt in the crypt as you released your form of dread. And that dread fills you as you remember giving into this entity fully, which enabled you to bring Dags back from the brink of death. You now realize that something in that has connected you to Dags. You're not entirely sure how or why, or what it will do or not do, or what is you are now capable of. You can visibly see that fine thread of darkness that is now connecting you to Dags. Dags, you cannot see this. You do notice, I would say with your passive perception, you do notice that Elliot's kind of focused on you briefly, kind of intently. And then, so Elliot, how do you react to that, seeing that thread? Because I'd say Dags would notice your reaction as well.
It's sort of just a really deep look of concern, and that'll be why he sort of suggests that Dags maybe stay down here with Droplet, and he'll move quite quickly back up the stairs because he's deeply troubled by this happenstance.
No problem. As you move quickly up the stairs, that feeling of dread is still quite evident, but then you also get that laughter, that dark laughter, just a slight giggle, if you will, as your uncomfort, the fact that you feel very uncomfortable, very unnerved, and you get the feeling that your passenger is quite amused by your distress. As you exit the cellar. So Dags, you will notice Elliot's sort of look of concern. He then suggests you stay down here with Droplet to maybe just keep an eye on him as he exits the cellar relatively quickly.
I'd stay down here, but I'm just kind of like, okay, like just kind of staring at me weird and like.
Roll a wisdom save for me, Dags. I will put it in the chat. Give me a sec. So roll that for me. Just a straight roll. You guys do have 4 advantages. If you wish to use one now, you can. That is definitely a failure. If you wish to re-roll that, let me know. No?
I think I'm good.
You gonna take it?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm gonna take that.
So with a 7, as you sort of focus on that and on what Elliot sort of was looking at you funny, it made you feel a little uncomfortable. And as you left the room, you looking at Droplet, looking at the plate, sort of looking around the room, briefly across the room from you, almost behind a shelf, you notice what you think initially is someone watching you, just a shadow. And as you look up to look directly at it, as you catch it out of the corner of your eye, it's gone. There's nothing there. But that sense of darkness, like that same sense of darkness you felt in the Cabell Manor's crypt when you guys first went down to investigate, that real heavy darkness washes over you quite quickly. And then it's not there for long, like it's there for maybe a few seconds, but it's a real heavy dark feeling, and then it's gone. So how you deal with that is up to you, good sir. You're actually dropping the DM's advantage, so the DM has an advantage to spend at some point tonight as well.
I'd like note it in the back of my mind to tell Zirxes.
Okay.
And bring it up to Elliot, possibly.
Okay, so you store it away for a later time. So you and Droplet are in the basement by yourselves, looking at this plate and cup and knife and fork. Droplet is unmoving, blinks every now and again, but that's about it. Droplet, how long do you intend to watch this place setting before maybe leaving the basement if nothing happens? What is Droplet's intent? And what is Droplet's attention span? More to the point.
Can I make a roll?
You can if you wish. If you want to make a private roll or even a public roll, it's completely up to you.
I would make a public roll. I'm not sure which.
Depending on, if you're looking at a 50-50 roll, just a D6 and go 1 to 3, 4 to 6. I think you have a coin flip on your macro bar. If you don't, we can do a 50-50 coin flip.
I'm not sure where that exists on here. Oh, there's the dice symbol. That's initiative. Nope.
So if you look at the bottom of the chat, you got a whole bunch of dice there. So you can roll a D4, D6.
A combat Hogwarts in the way.
Yeah. So you can pretty much roll whatever you want to roll. So depending on what you decided, the 1 to 3 is what, and it's 4 to 6 is the other. So that's your 50-50 roll.
Yeah, I'll stay there for about 15 minutes.
And then do what?
And then shrug and walk upstairs if it doesn't do anything.
Do you say anything to Dags as you leave, or you just shrug and just walk out? Because Dags is there. Dags is sitting there with you. So Dags, after about 15 or 20 minutes or so, you're sitting there, you're watching this plate, nothing's really being said between you two, and then suddenly Droplet just shrugs and just starts heading upstairs without saying a word. You're muted, dude. You're muted.
Dags is so confused at this point. Like, everyone is just like, he just doesn't even know what to think. He's just kind of like, who the fuck are these people? Like, and I guess he just goes back upstairs like, what the fuck?
So as you head up the stairs, Droplet, you disappear upstairs. Where are you headed? Just back up to the main area, or back upstairs to the living areas to see what Jane's done up there?
If the group is still in the sort of the main atrium area, I will meet them there. If I don't see them when I get there, then I'll head straight up to the tower room.
Yeah.
Ignoring every other room along the way.
I would imagine that Jane is in the main area still, dealing with that sort of thing. Elliot is probably, I'm not sure where Elliot was going, and we'll deal with that in just a moment. But Dags, as you get about halfway up the stairs, you hear closing time. Go. You turn and look to see where the voice came from. No, there's nothing there. There's no one there.
And Dags will be like, I'll have a round. Just off the top of his head, like, okay. See what happens.
Nothing, you'd hear nothing else. You see nothing. And eventually you will turn and leave the basement. So we'll leave you guys there for a moment. We're going to follow Zirxes upstairs. So Zirxes, you head up to the living area, which was the last time before you left to go to Cabell Manor, when you were using your paladin abilities to try and sense this entity. It was the last area that you felt this being, this creature. What is your intention as you head up to the living area? And as you actually head up to the 3rd floor, you do notice that the hallway is pristine. It's been well done. All of the rooms where your companions will now be staying, all the doors are open. Each of they all know which is their rooms, but all the rooms are tidy. They're furnished. They look like they're ready to go. Like obviously Jane has spent that first day making sure that you guys have somewhere to live, somewhere comfortable, ready before you can get this business up off the ground and ready to go.
I'll find somewhere in the main area, outside the rooms. Just sit somewhere in the center of the room, cross-legged.
Yeah, so you got almost like a large balcony which looks down over the main area of the bar. So it's not. It's almost like the business itself has been separated. So it's almost like a horseshoe. As you get up to the top of the main stairs, you've got a massive horseshoe type balcony. It's quite wide. So you're looking at probably a 20-foot wide walkway, but then looks down over the main bar. So you can actually look down literally 2 floors down to the main area of the bar. So you can, if you look down, you'd probably see some of the workers working. You would see Jane talking to different people and pointing out things that need to be done, things like that. So you've got a big enough area on the main balcony where you can have a seat and do whatever you need to do.
I won't be directly in the center.
I'm sorry if that was really loud, by the way.
I won't be directly in the center. I'll sit somewhere closer to the edge, but not on the edge. So just enough so that I can at least see something over the edge, but
Yep, no worries. Easily enough
probably the
done.
people from the bottom can't see me.
No drama. And what are you? What is your intent? What are you doing?
I will sit down, and I'll take out a candle. It is a black candle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll sit it down, and I'll light it, and then I'll take out my symbol. The symbol is a skeletal arm clutching a set of scales.
Yeah.
And I'll pull that out and sit that on the ground in front of the black candle. And I am going to close my eyes. And I'm going to whisper Leaf's name. And just say, "Are you here?"
So you're attempting to reach out to Leaf, to this entity. I will get you in this instance. Let's get you to make a religion check. That is a good roll. Dirty 20.
Yep.
So as you sit, concentrate on the candle, on the holy symbol that you possess, and you whisper Leaf's name. You wait 2 or 3 minutes for response. Initially, you get nothing. You whisper his name again, concentrating again on the symbol of Kalimvor, and you eventually you don't hear anything, but you feel a presence. Something. It's not dark. It is not malevolent in any way. You're certain that it's Leaf that you feel. Something close by.
Hello. Don't mind us. Just want to see who you are, why you were here. Is that something you can tell me?
You hear a single tap on the banister to your immediate left. Just a single light tap.
I'll take that as a yes. Did you die here?
You get that single light tap on the banister again, but it's very, very light, almost not detectable by your hearing. It was very, very slight. But you also get a really cold sensation sort of just flow over your shoulders, like you get that chill. Sometimes it just chills you to the bone. You get that real chilled sensation as you get this light tap on the banister.
Would I have any, would Zirxes have any inclination as to what that would suggest?
It's leaning towards a positive. Whatever question you're asking, it's definitely leaning towards a yes or a positive type answer. You get the feeling that this communication, he doesn't seem to either have the strength to communicate verbally, or is choosing not to, but he is communicating, and he's definitely giving you a positive sort of feeling in this. But he definitely died here. That chill is it's the chill of death, basically.
Do you want to stay here?
You get a single tap on the banister again. This time a little bit more emphatic. Almost giving you the sense it's a yes, but it's almost like I have no choice. Yes, like it's very quick to come and very emphatic. Like it's an odd sensation you're feeling.
Is something keeping you here?
The window opposite you, as you go across the opening that leads down to the lower floors, is a large round window which is still not completely repaired, but it's allowing some light, sort of natural light, to fall down over the interior of the building. One of those panes of glass just shatters outward. Giving you a distinct impression that he's trying to leave, but he can't.
If I could help you leave, do you want me to?
And it's at this point, right in front of your face, a smoky image starts to form. Very slight, almost completely transparent. But you see a young man's face. Maybe human, half elf, elven, you really can't tell. Soft features. One thing that you do notice that stands out to you is a large wound across the upper of his throat. And then the face changes into, like it's very soft, but then it changes into more of a scared, sorrowful kind of look to the face. And then it switches again to something a lot darker and then vanishes.
I take the candle that's now been burning for a little while.
Yep.
And I make a little pool of the wet wax. And I just say, can you give me a name? Or at least the letter of a name? Who did this to you?
You get drawn in the wax very slowly at first. You get a single line, and then you get, it's a single line on a diagonal from top, so the way you're looking at it, from top right to bottom left. Then you get another straight line across the top of that and a straight line across the bottom, forming a Z. Which I believe Zirxes would assume almost immediately a specific name starting with Z. And I would hazard a guess that the feeling you're getting from this would definitely lean towards that name. I think Zirxes would know that Leaf has been the victim of a particular faction here in WaterDeep.
Thank you, Leaf. I will do what I can to avenge you and let you rest. Kellenborg will see it so. And then I'll blow out the candle.
Okay. So with that, you have a little bit more information. The rest of you downstairs, eventually Dags and Droplet do emerge from the basement, leading back up into the main area of the inn. as does Elliot. So Elliot, you would probably come back up first, and you would see Jane doing her thing, barking orders at some of the contractors, making sure they're getting things done right. Everything seems to be working pretty smoothly under Jane's watchful eye. She definitely knows what she's doing.
Would she have heard the glass break upstairs?
Everyone would have. It would definitely been loud enough.
I probably would have at that point gone, oh. Why have we got such clumsy people? This is not okay.
Everyone would have heard the glass break upstairs.
Yes, including you. It's at a place you couldn't reach, however. The window that broke is not in a place that anyone can reach without ladders or scaffolding, unfortunately.
Droplet is going to run up the stairs and search as many rooms as he needs to until he finds the smashed glass.
As you head up the stairs, I see you on the way up, and I sort of gesture for you to turn around and head back down, urging you. And as I get to the bottom, I'm going to see who I can see and just look at each person that's there and just say, right, we need a meeting.
Does Droplet conform, or does he carry on looking for the broken glass?
Droplet in his... almost... Imagine a raven doing a Naruto run.
Oh, shit.
And he is now paused on one bird leg. With his head just twisted back looking at Zirxes. While still completely flat and half sprint.
Flamingo crow.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then he'll just stop, compose himself to be a little bit more humanoid, and then yes, casually walk back down the stairs with Zirxes.
So, with you all back together, Zirxes exclaims that he needs to talk. So you've got rooms upstairs that you can talk privately. There is an office behind the kitchen, which would be big enough for you all to have a meeting in as well, which Jane would know about. Which would be another room that would have been renovated relatively quickly so that Jane has somewhere to work, and go over accounts and such as Jane does. So it's up to you, Jane, whether you lead them to that room or you take them to one of the upstairs rooms or anything like that.
I'll take him to the office. Come with me, guys, if we need to have a meeting. Be a bit more private back here.
So once in the office, the floor is yours, Zirxes.
So we got a little bit more than we bargained for when we found this place. It seems a former owner is still here, but shouldn't be.
Hiding out somewhere, or?
You could say so, though he's very good at stealth. And he's not even trying. He's a spirit. That is what has been causing these activities that you've been seeing.
That's what I was about to ask. Is he doing it on purpose? Well,
if he is, I don't think he means badly. If he is, he might be trying to get attention. It seems he does not want to stay here, but can't leave.
Is there any way we can help him to move on?
There is a few ways that I have at my disposal to help him, but I think the best one that we can use at the moment is to avenge his death.
Do you know who killed him?
I have a pretty good idea, just by the nature of his injury and the letter he gave. Would suggest Xanathar's. Potentially somebody from that guild. Probably ordered.
You know,
By the
Xanathar
boss
starts with an
himself.
X, eh? Not a Z.
I do. I'll be honest. I thought you'd said it with a Z a couple of weeks back, so I left it. I thought you meant that.
Yeah.
But yes, I get what you mean now.
Yeah. The other faction.
Yes. Reverse, repeat.
And carry on.
Zhentarim.
So, how do we help him release? Do we know who killed him?
It seems to be someone of the Zhentarim.
Huh.
It's probably now as a good time as any. You probably detected as much if you are as smart as you appear. I have had dealings with the Zhentarim in the past. I am a former agent of the Zhentarim.
The Zhentarim are like the dwarves and stuff that were wearing blue, right?
Yes, you have
The
seen.
bar fight.
Yeah. A couple of them was Zhentarim, yes. And also so you've some of the deceased that you come across when you first when you went down the alley and were turned away by the guards. Some of the bodies in the street were Zhentarim as well, wearing Zhentarim. So it's a mixed race guild, but they are well known in Waterdeep.
Droplet will just place one talent hand on Zirx's arm, look up to him, and just say, "Don't be sorry. Be better."
I knew it was coming before.
I love it.
Right, so to dispatch this one spirit, you'd like us to take out any number of one of the largest factions in Waterdeep as a form of revenge, is what I'm
Droplet
hearing.
draws his katana.
Do we know who it was in that guild? Did he give you a name?
No, just that I suspect we should be able to discover it at some point. Perhaps somebody that has bad dealings with this place, somebody who
Could look into the. Could I look into the?
You could probably look into the records of the former owners, but it would take some time and maybe a little bit of greasing of palms with gold. You know how this sort of shit works. Like it's going to take talking to the right people and bribing the right people to get the information you need.
If I was suggested, I don't have this information from Leaf himself, but just a thought process is perhaps you could maybe look into potential deals that Leaf may have made with the wrong people.
Okay, so Leaf. Leaf.
L-I-F.
Also,
L-I-F. Leaf.
maybe the Xanathar Guild would know something. I mean, they hate each other. They know each other's doings. So if Leaf was in with the Xanathar Guild, then maybe they know who killed him.
It is possible, but I must warn you that they are probably more dangerous, especially here in Waterdeep, than any other faction. So we need to tread carefully.
Let me do some digging.
It's a lot of work to expel a spirit. Aren't there like exorcists or something?
Well, I mean, we can always see if he's happy to stay here as long as he stops breaking shit.
Shit, yes. Or he could just sod off.
I pull out the symbol and I hold it out in front of me for everybody to see, allowing them to have a good look at it if they happen to recognize it or not.
Everyone roll a religion. I'll give it up actually. Press roll from Everyone except for Zirxes. Religion. Bloop. So, Jane and Dags, you would recognize this as a holy symbol of Kalimvor.
Kalimdor?
Kalimvor,
Oh,
with a V.
Droplet would see the
Kalimvor.
held out symbol and having no idea what the fuck he's looking at, would just sort of reach out as if to take it. Just... Me?
I re-roll.
I would allow you
Advantages,
to.
guys.
I would allow you to
You've got
hold
4
it.
advantages, but I mean, it's up to you when you use them. But
I would take it and just be like,
And I
put it in my
would, I would
pants.
hold my hand back out again.
ooh, shiny.
Trust
Puts
me,
it back
it's
in your
not
hand.
worth anything.
I mean,
Not
it's
to
a
you
pretty
anyway.
mundane looking symbol. Like it is, it's definitely, like I said, it's a skeletal hand with scales. What is it made out of? Has it been carved out of bone or wood? Type of
It is a
metal?
bit of combination of both.
Okay.
The skeletal hand is actually bone, made probably from chicken bone.
Yeah.
And then the scales are made out of wood
Okay.
that has been carved.
So yeah, so it's definitely. I mean, Droplet would know if it held any value, and it definitely doesn't hold any value, apart from maybe 2 Zirxes himself. So those of you,
Droplet's just trying to read the intention of the room.
just for obviously religion's sake, because Dags rolled a 16, Dags would probably have a little bit of information about Kalimvor. You would know, Jane. You would know of Kalimvor. You've heard of many gods. There are many gods in Faerun, and so you've definitely heard of Kalimvor. You're not entirely sure what they stand for. You don't know if it's an evil god or good god or anything like that. So Sturks, if you've got a little bit of information on Kalimvor, the Dags, just some basic knowledge, alignment, that sort of thing.
I can look it up too if you
If
want.
you want to look it up, yeah, I just want to look it up yourself. If you want
I
to.
would go as far as to say that Kalimvor presides over the realm of the dead and death itself. And as one of his servants, I've taken an oath to see rightful passage to death. Whether that be abruptly ending a sinful life or helping ease the passage of a spirit on, or obliterating the ungodliness that is undeath.
Right, that's all very serious, but have you got like an express system you can do? I mean, this is awfully inconvenient, and I really don't think we should be messing around with the factions more than we already have, which is quite a lot for one spirit.
It is only one spirit, and he means no harm. Now that we have his attention, or he has our attention, it's possible some of these things may cease, or at least reduce.
So, Jane, as you guys are discussing this, on your desk, because you've probably seated these guys around your desk in this office.
Yeah.
On your desk is a jug of wine and some glasses. I would say, as you guys are discussing this, Jane, you're probably the only person that notices this because you know how you arrange these glasses and that. One of the glasses is now a lot closer to you than what it was before, and it has about a quarter of a cup of wine poured in it. And you were just thinking about, God, I need a drink with all this fucking spirit talk.
I'm going to pick up that wine. So, thank you, and have a drink.
Wait, didn't somebody call last call earlier and I said I wanted a round? Is that for me?
Oh, it's gone already. She's just going, huh.
I will say that if you all can deal with it, I'd say we leave him be until we can potentially find who it is.
Like I said, I have zero problem with having a spirit here. That's fine. It just needs to stop breaking stuff. It's getting expensive.
There is something else you might want to consider, and I am no businessman.
Do tell.
But you've seen the workers running. Could see patrons doing the same thing. So you could dress it up instead.
In a sheet. Sorry, that was another thing, not a Jane thing.
Oh, damn.
Xerxes just starts laughing and says, I didn't realize you'd be so literal, but not quite what I meant.
Well, you could add it as part of the flair of the building. That's fine. We could have tours for people who want to come and visit the haunted manor.
Possibly.
Ooh,
I mean, your
ideas.
second floor is your rooms to stay in, so you potentially could.
We could offer tours. Yes, I can see the dollar signs or the gold signs, the dragon signs going around and around.
Yes, the dragons, definitely.
In her eyes.
So Jane's mind wanders there for a moment. She sort of stares off into the distance as she starts just running scenarios over in head of how to market this potential haunted inn.
If, and only if, Leaf is okay with that, because there's no point trying to do something with the spirit if the spirit's not willing. Stop it.
You're all hearing a single audible knock on the desk you're all sitting at. Xerxes, you understand exactly what that means after dealing with him.
I think he is in the affirmation.
So he's happy to be happy here if it's going to stop breaking stuff.
I think he's happy to be here until we find
Okay.
a path for him to move on.
Well, you do what you need to do to find out what you need to find out, and I'll go and research the old records. I'll go and have a look through, see if I can find old records and see if I can figure out who, what, maybe. I'll speak to some people. I'll have my people speak to some other people's people.
Maybe he can help us figure it out.
There's that too.
Like, maybe he knows where some records may be hidden. Or, I mean, this is his place. So, secrets would be his ideal. I mean, just a thought.
I also don't know how long ago that he died.
Can we find that out? Would he be able
That's
to
something
tell?
you may be able to find out in the records. You'd have to go through the records of the previous owners of the
Do we
Trollskull
know
Manor.
his surname?
No,
Is
you're
it
not.
just Leaf?
Just Leaf.
Okay.
But you would have to go back through the records of the previous ownership records of, because you guys know that you signed a notarized deed for this manor. So there's every possibility that the person that you signed the notary with will have records of previous owners.
This is
Again,
WaterDeep.
Possibly going to cost you money to gain access to that information. That's if the information is there. There's no guarantee that you'll be able to get it, but you can certainly try.
Hey. Well, this sounds like an extraordinarily huge waste of time and possibly resources, but if it keeps you entertained and happy, by all means, I'm out. And Elliot just leaves because he doesn't care.
Droplet would catch at Elliot's sleeve as he goes and look up, because Droplet shot, into Elliot's eyes with his piercing white gaze. Drop his beak, and you would hear, everybody dies. Some just need a little help.
I don't know. Would that unnerve Elliot a little bit? I think.
Oh dear, yeah, just a little bit, especially where his head's at.
Yeah, I'm just thinking with this darkness, the fact that he's given in to his passenger, and now seeing this connection between him and Dags. Yeah, I really think that statement would probably unnerve him even further.
Zirxes is turning and looking at Elliot with some shady eyes.
Shady eyes.
Shady eyes. Through his mask. So where is Elliot headed? Is he headed out of the inn, up to his room?
Outside.
Outside. I will get from Elliot as you eventually head out. And head out of the rear, the side, or the front of the building, is the question.
Whichever direction is less occupied. So he'd sort of stop and try and listen for the workers and decide.
I mean, most of the work hasn't been done on the interior at this point. So I would say leaving the building from either of those exits would be about as occupied as you would expect. The front leads out into Trollskull Alley. There's generally people milling around in the alley anyway. It's where there's other businesses and that close by as well. The side entrance puts you in a small alley between two buildings leading into Trollskull Alley, and the rear exit you have to go down through the basement to get to leads you out into like a loading area, which you would know would probably be relatively no one there at all.
Yeah, that's where he'd go then. Okay,
so down through the basement. Roll a perception roll with a 6, not very perceptical. You do have 4 advantages you can use if you wish. Up to you.
Why not?
So mark off one of those advantages, people. You got 3 left. So I will set it up again, and we'll get you to roll that again. Better, much better. 15. So as you step out into this again, it's like a darkened sort of alley leading off behind Trollskull Alley, and it's almost like a series of the basements of other buildings off the back. So it's like it goes down behind the building and it's down in a darkened place. You step out into the space wanting to be by yourself. It's kind of creepy looking out here, but you're used to the creepy feeling that you're currently experiencing anyway, so it doesn't really impact on that too much. But you do notice 2 gentlemen off to your left, just up the alley from the Trollskull Manor, that with a 15 you do recognize. You were with Droplet and Jane on the balcony of the yawning portal when Droplet jumped from the balcony down to the floor, where you had a couple of unwanted, or as Droplet would have put it, unwanted visitors that left quite quickly. You didn't really notice them then per se, but now you're looking at these 2 guys, hooded. They seem, with a 15, they're definitely watching you. They're definitely either watching you or the building. They stand out mainly because of the color of one of the sashes they wear, which is attached to another faction here in Waterdeep. Not the Zhentarim, not Xanathar, but another faction that you have heard of. You probably don't know much about them, but they are called the Brigandiath. And it's a faction you know of by the color of their colorations. They all have colors and different people that work for them, but they do stand out as Brigandiath to you. And the one person that's looking at you recognizes his face from the previous the 3 nights ago.
Oh, shitting hells. I'll talk to you later. And he goes over to him. He's like, gentlemen, can I be of some assistance to you today?
As you start to approach, one of them turns and walks away and disappears down a side alley. The taller of the two remains, hands sort of clasped in front of him, almost like he's waiting for you to come and speak to him. Again, whether that unnerves Elliot or not, I don't know. Elliot, you're not short. You're a reasonably tall individual. This guy stands about 6'2", so probably a little taller than you. He looks to be elven in race. One thing stands out to you which just seems odd. His clothing is quite tattered and drab, like he's wearing leather armor and he's wearing the colors of the Brigandiath. His cloak is relatively tattered and worn, but he's wearing something around his neck that is it's just out of place on him. It doesn't seem to fit. And he says to you, "New owners of the Trollskull, I see."
Indeed, and I apologize if I've caused offense to your colleague. He left in a hurry.
He had other places to be. My employer just wants to know who's working in the area. So excuse me if I seem forward, but Trollskull's been empty for some time. What made you buy that dump?
You know, I was thinking the same thing, but my colleagues convinced me it was a worthwhile venture, and I'm here in WaterDeep for a time, and might as well try my hand at a new venture. It could fall on my face, but it's worth a shot, right?
Indeed, I suppose. Bear in mind that WaterDeep is not run through the usual channels. You will get a visit from several different interested parties. I'm sure. Make sure you fall on the right side. Otherwise, your business won't last long.
And the right side would, in your opinion, obviously.
Well, that depends entirely on you, I guess. And your companions, of course.
Right, yes.
Let's just say steer clear of Xanathar and his ilk, at the very least.
That's good advice.
We'll be in touch.
Right.
Good day. And he sort of gives you a nod, and he turns slowly, sort of pulls his cloak and sort of around, noticing that you've sort of spied around his neck. He sort of pulls his collar up to hide it a bit more, and turns down the same alley that his friend did, and disappears from sight. Now, Elliot, I will also need you to roll that for me as well. 17. Another flash, another memory flashes just instantly, like in sort of the front of your mind. Dags, describe your focus for me, please.
It's basically a like silver pendant necklace with like an opal in it, and that's pretty much it. It's like a
Very
basic,
simple.
yeah, like it, obviously elven, like silversmithing, but
Yeah.
with an opal in it.
So you get this flash of this image, but you see Dags again. You see Dags' face, the flash of his face, but he's much younger than what he is now. But around his neck is this necklace, silver chain, elven silver work with a small opal set in its center. And as you sort of blink away this memory, you were just looking at that very necklace around the neck of the individual you were just speaking to.
Oh, fuck. What the shitting hells is this? This is outside the bounds of our contract, and you know it.
Nothing is outside the bounds of my contract. And
Contract
you
is
know
between
it.
us and not Dags.
I have no interest in the young half-elf. You begged me for him not to die. That is what I did. I have no contract with him. My contract is for you and you alone. But you are now connected to him. That is
Does that
your
even mean?
connection, not mine.
Devious shit. Fuck this. And I walk back inside.
And that's where we'll take a 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, we probably don't actually need to. We're getting close to the end anyway. We will head back in with Elliot. We're about 15 minutes away from finishing, so we might as well carry on. We'll leave Elliot there for just a moment. Now, Dags, as you guys are all still sitting in the office, sort of again discussing just some finer details, trying to, Zirxes, you're probably going over what you think that you could potentially do. It seems like the whole air of the place has slightly changed for you as well, Zirxes. You get the feeling that Leaf now seems a little bit more comfortable with what you've discussed. He seems, again, more sort of affable to the situation. Obviously, Jane, you've felt that as well with this gesture of the glass and the wine. You know no one else poured it. You didn't see anyone else do it. So you definitely get the feeling that this is where this is sort of going, this positive, more positive energy coming from this entity. Even Droplet, I think you would get a sense that something's changed in the air just with the discussion that's been going on around you. How Droplet deals with that in the future is up to him. We'll see how that goes, because that will probably be interesting. But Dags, you're sitting there sort of listening to this, and you're offering your opinions as well. And at a moment, just a brief moment, you see this face in front of you. It's almost like you're not in the office anymore, but you're standing outside in the alley, and you see a half-drow face, one you recognize again from the inn as they left after Droplet dropped in on them. You notice them walk out. You recognize that face. You were sure you knew the face from somewhere, but you couldn't place it. Now you're looking directly at it, but front on. It's not someone you know personally, but you know you've had some kind of dealings with them through your friend, your fence, shall we say. the person that you've traded with on multiple occasions, you've seen this person with him occasionally. But the one you don't even, and that's the instant you get, but your eyes are instantly drawn to what he's wearing around his neck. And it's your focus, your silver chain, your silver pendant with that opal set in the center. And in an instant, it's gone. And it's not a memory. It's like, it was just like that instant. You were looking through someone else's eyes. You couldn't pick it. It was weird. You never felt anything like that before. It was familiar, yet not familiar. But it was so quick, you couldn't really tell whether, who you were seeing through. It definitely wasn't you. You were seeing through someone else's eyes at that instant, but you couldn't figure out what it was. And then it's gone. How does Dags react to that?
Very confused. Like,
physically, how does he react? Does he sit up? Does he say anything? Does he just sit there, say nothing? Sort of describe what others would see as. I mean, you guys are all sort of talking. So these others in the room, would you be visibly shaken by this? What sort of reaction?
Dags would probably like stand. Like if he would say he was sitting at a chair, he'd like stand up and like walk to the edge of the room. Maybe like look out a window, kind of like, what the fuck?
There would be a small window in the office which does look over the back of the building, looking down on the alley below. I will get, actually, in that case, I will get you to roll a perception check for me. As you sort of just look down. Natty 1! Holy crap. You do have an advantage. You can roll that again.
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll that again, because that was yucky.
Mark off another advantage. We've got 2 left. So I'll get you to roll that again. That's better. That's better. So a dirty 20. And that one to dirty 20. That was well worth the advantage. As you look down and sort of look out this, again, it's one of those mottled glass windows, so you can't make out any major details. But you look down and you do see 2 individuals that are on the very corner of the building, just up the road a little bit. They're sort of shrouded in darkness, but you can see 2 figures standing sort of face to face talking. Elliot's jacket is quite distinct, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So I would say even through the mottled glass, the coloration of Elliot's jacket and probably his skin, as he's a tiefling, he's a horned tiefling with a tail, he probably does stand out about it. So you wouldn't notice any major details, but you would definitely notice Elliot down in the street below talking to somebody. Whether you put 2 and 2 together, I would probably say not really. But
right,
you definitely notice
anything.
Yeah. You
didn't notice, like, I didn't look at my hands or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I just saw a face.
All you can see is Elliot standing talking to a hooded figure in this instance.
Okay.
So the rest of you, Droplet, Jane, and Zirxes, you would see, like, probably mid-conversation, you guys are busy talking about Leaf and what you're going to do and the information that you're sort of gathering, and then suddenly Dags just sort of stands up and walks over to the window and looks out the window. Sort of maybe even mid-sentence, he might have been offering his opinion, and then just stands up and walks over and just stands and looks out the window for 2 or 3 minutes, not saying anything.
Whether Dags has noticed or not, I'm not sure. But if someone were to be looking in that window from the outside right now, they would see Dags stood there. And about shoulder height next to him, slightly behind, is the face of Droplet.
Oh, I love it.
Also trying to stare out the window at exactly where Dags is looking. He's like,
I'd say Droplet's probably too short to look out the window, to be fair.
No, it's too high.
It's too
He's
high.
5 foot.
I mean, yeah, you'd probably
Directly
just be able to peer over sill,
Just see
maybe.
his
Just, yeah,
eyes.
it'd be like this. It'd be like, seriously, he's probably just a little short. Because how tall's Dags? Dags is what,
5'10".
5'10", yeah. So, yeah, you'd be right at the base of the window. You probably wouldn't be able to make out any discernible anything from your position, especially if you're slightly behind him too. So,
Gets on his tippy toes.
yeah, you'd probably have to. So, but yes. So with that, yes. So whether Jane notices that or Xerxes, it's up to you guys. I'd say you probably would, because he would have been seated at a desk with you guys. So he just stands up and
just
walks
be
over
like-
to the window.
You okay?
And as Jane speaks to you, probably snap out of just this sort of weirdness for a moment, Dags.
I mean, I'd be looking at Xerxes like,
And then you'd, at the moment Jane speaks to you, turn to look at her, you'd see Droplet right there.
Just something I lost.
would that be your mind?
Oh, well.
Maybe.
Jane would think that. She wouldn't actually say it out loud. Just put that in there.
And how does Xerxes react to this? Does
He's
Xerxes say anything?
unfazed. He thinks this is pretty normal for Dags.
But yeah, generally is. And Droplet's behaviour is just normal for Droplet anyway. So I don't think anyone's going to question anything Droplet does in the future. So eventually, Elliot, you obviously leave this gentleman in the alley. He makes his leave, and you head back towards the Trollskull Inn. Do you go back inside, or do you remain outside?
I think he'd stay outside for a bit to see if those gentlemen come back for whatever reason, trying to focus on anything else that has nothing to do with.
I'll get you to roll another perception for me. I mean, your perception check was pretty good, so I'll get you to roll another one anyway. 11, it's about average. You wait outside for, I don't know, maybe half an hour, maybe, just trying to get your thoughts together as well. You know, obviously you've completely opened yourself to your passenger, and he's taunting you. Like he knows he's got you now. Like he knows that he now has not so much control, but he knows he has you fully. You've given into him. You go over the words that he spoke, saying that like his interest, he has no interest in Dags. Your connection is your connection, not his. You are confused by that. You're not sure what that means. You're not sure why there's a connection. You know there's a connection. You've seen it. Your passenger has confirmed it. There is definitely something now connecting you two. These flashes of memory are definitely Dags. Like you feel that connection whenever you get the flash. You can feel him the same way you felt the connection with him when you brought him back. There is something very unnerving about that connection. You are not what's the word? You've never really had a connection to someone else on a emotional level. You've tried to purposely not have those connections. Family, friends, women, you shut yourself off emotionally from those people. You don't want those connections. You've tried to avoid those at all costs to stop this, whatever this is, this entity that is now with you, to try and stop them from getting a foothold. You've now given into that, and now suddenly there's this connection with Dags. You don't know what it is. It's uncomfortable. It's not an emotional connection. Like you don't view Dags as a friend, not yet anyway. You don't view him, I mean, you don't view any of these people as friends yet, perhaps. I mean, that's on you. But ultimately, that's my impression of Elliot is you don't view these people as your friends. They're acquaintances. They're work colleagues. They're a means to an end, perhaps. But now you have this connection, and it's really pissing you off. You're not sure why it's happened. I mean, you're glad that Dags isn't dead, but at the same time, you don't want to be connected to him. But you currently have no choice. and you know that. You know that the connection's there, and you're not sure how long it's going to be there for, whether it's permanent, whether it's temporary. But you now have a connection with this young wood elf, which is odd, to say the least. Eventually, I would imagine you give in and head back inside as the day starts to draw in. It does start to cool. It is springtime. The evenings are warm-ish, but we're still early spring, so it is a little bit cooler in the evening. You're not stupid. You are a little older. The cold does devastate you a lot more than it used to. Nothing a good whiskey wouldn't fix. But you do eventually head back inside. You do have a room on the third floor with the rest of your companions that has been set up for you. You are able to decorate that in any way, shape, or form that you wish. Eventually, the rest of you finish your meeting and start heading out. Droplet will obviously head to the tower, which is his room on the far end of the third floor. Dags, I would say you head to your room eventually, and I'd say you probably hang out at the window for a bit, just looking down at the street to see if you recognize anyone. And I would say you probably stay there for a number of hours until it gets dark. Zirxes, you head down to the cellar. It's cold. It's quiet. The workmen and everyone leave before the sun goes down. Jane, you dismiss them for around dinner time, allowing them to all head home and get their rest and that. And obviously they'll be back first light in the morning to continue the jobs. I'd say you stay in your office for a short time, looking around maybe in this area, in the building itself, to try to see if you can find maybe some records of previous owners. You do not find any of that information easily or at all in this instance. You know you're going to have to go to the magistrate's office and look at possibly either paying for that information or maybe trading information, maybe sending a message to some of your people, as you put it before, to possibly find that information for you. So we're going to go around each individual just quickly before we finish up. So Jane, you're in your office, you're dealing with that. You then eventually head to your room to get some sleep. Is there any rituals or things that Jane does before she heads off for the evening, or is anything tonight that you wish to do before heading to bed?
I would probably just do my normal things and then maybe go and stand at the window and put my hand on it and say, wonder if you're still out there somewhere.
Thinking of your husband? Okay. I would say, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You're definitely looking for him. You don't know whether he still lives. You're not sure. Something brought you to WaterDeep to look for him. You believe that someone here knows something, or he may even be here. You're not entirely sure. But something brought you to WaterDeep for a reason. And you will get to the bottom of it. You are a very staunch businesswoman, and you generally don't take no for an answer when you start digging into things. So I would say you probably hang around at the window for an hour or so before eventually turning in and eventually finding some sleep. Droplet. You go to your tower. The furniture's sparse, as per your, as no one really knows anything about you, so they don't know whether you require a bed or a perch or whatever. So there's probably a bed there, but not much else. So that leaves it open to you to obviously furnish in the coming days. But what is Droplet doing at this in this instance as the sun starts to set?
Droplet is taking stock once again of the dimensions of the room he's in, the space he's got to work with.
It's a good size room.
And
all the
then-
rooms are probably 20 to 30 feet, sort of 20 by 30. So they're good size rooms. This is a pretty big place.
Pretty good amount of room there, and then he's going to try the bed.
It's
Lays down
pretty
on
hard.
it,
It's not the
and then
greatest of beds.
decides, absolutely not. Goes to the large window, opens it, and takes a perch on the windowsill, looking
Easily enough
out
done.
onto the streets.
So
of
this,
Waterdeep
so
from
this
there.
little tower, which is it's sort of the very outside of the building, has like a large rounded style bay window, which is like a double window, which you're able to open up. And as you perch on the windowsill, you're literally looking down. Your room is looking down on the front of Trollskull Manor into Trollskull Alley itself. There's still people milling around. The street lamps have all started to be lit. You can see the city watch moving around. You got a gentleman with a lit lamp on torch on a pole, going around lighting all the oil lamps along the alley and out into the main street. There is a heavy city watch present around Trollskull Alley at the moment. We're not sure why, but you do see quite a few patrols sort of moving through the alley and then out the other side. Maybe over the next 2 hours, you see 2 or 3 patrols come through the alley. You do spy a number of people that look a little shady to you, but then from this height, a lot of people will look shady. Hooded figures. It's Trollskull Alley. You've been here a year. You've got a fair understanding of Trollskull. You know the types of individuals that sort of run these alleys. Some shady shit going on. It always has.
Oh, yes.
I will get you to roll a quick perception roll for me, though. Because I was going to say, you probably don't need it, but I was going to say, because it's one of the last rolls of the evening, roll it with advantage. I'll get you to roll it again just in case you get a natural 20.
Excellent.
So roll that again. No,
That's a
so
no.
I'll take your first roll. So as you're sort of sitting here watching over it, just as the sun starts to give way and one of the street lamps is lit closer to the Trollskull Manor, you do notice one particular individual sort of looking. He looks like he's looking up at the manor, catches your eye, and then pulls his hood up and turns down a darkened alley and disappears. Almost like he's been caught watching. From your distance, you can't really tell who they were or what race they were. You're being watched, you know that. Whether it was the individuals from the inn, from Yawning Portal, not entirely sure. Have a good one, Trash. You can't really tell from this distance, but you definitely know someone's watching Trollskull. Whether it's the Zhentarim, whether it's the Brigand Diarth, whether it's the Xanathar's Guild, you're not entirely sure. It could be all three. But Droplet knows that people are watching Trollskull for whatever reason.
Is there any parchment in this room?
I would say no, not at this point.
Not yet. Excellent.
Most of the rooms are very bare. I'd say Jane's probably the only one that's furnished her room because she's been the only one there long enough to do so. So the rest of the rooms will be very sparse until you finish them yourselves. So we'll leave Droplet there. Any ritual before Droplet goes to sleep, perhaps?
Droplet would be perching on the windowsill, looking out into the streets of Waterdeep, And that is where he will take his meditative rest,
Okay, easily enough
like
done.
a sentinel.
Should I make you
If I
roll
can
a
do it with his
dexterity
eyes
check?
open, it would be even better.
See if you fall out the window when you fall asleep. No, I wouldn't do that to you. That would be funny though, so I won't do that to you. You're a bird. You can sleep standing up. You're good. So we'll leave Droplet there as he eventually comes to some form of rest. Dags, you find your room. Again, very sparse furniture-wise. Bed, wash basin, place to put your clothing. A very basic room. The window in your room looks out on the side of the Trollskull, on the opposite side to where comes around that way. So yes, yours is looking out over on the side, almost to the same side as where you saw Elliot outside towards the back, just further forward down that alley. But what does Dags do before he finds rest?
And Dags would probably, when like the little kids in like an orphanage or something, they sit on the windowsill looking up at the moon, thinking about life. That's what he'd be doing before he went to bed, just kind of thinking about the necklace and such things and the past. And
how much does he focus on that necklace?
a lot.
A lot?
Him, the necklace, and his mom, and
I will get you to roll. I'm going to get you to roll here. Get you to roll that for me. Nice roll. 23. You focus on that, on your focus, your necklace. You know this is something you need to find it. This is why you're here. You must find this. It's a connection to your mother, connection to your family, but most of all, it's a connection to your magic, this magic that you're struggling with so much right now. You need to find it. You need to find who stole it and do whatever is necessary to get it back. The more you think about it, the more you think about that face. It was definitely stolen from you. You know it was stolen from you. The person that brought you here to WaterDeep is a fence. You've seen that person, the person that now obviously wears your focus, your property. You've seen that face. You've seen him talking to the friend that brought you here to WaterDeep. That makes you angry. They know something. They know something they're not telling you, or they have not told you. They know something. You need to find out why, and you need to track down this individual. You need to get that back ASAP. How you deal with that is on you. But we will leave Dags there with that lingering thought that he must get that back at all costs. Whether that means killing the man to retrieve it, up to you. How you deal with it is on you. Zirxes, in your basement. It's cool. It's quiet. What is Zirxes doing before he heads to sleep?
He will go and find a small handful of flour from the stores.
Yep.
And just on the corner of the floor behind the door of his room, just spread it out nice and neat. And he's just going to whisper, in case you want to tell me anything during the night. And then he'll go about to his nightly ritual, which is to set up a couple of plates sitting on a fulcrum.
Yep.
And he's going to place one one coin,
One dragoon.
and
Or dragon.
onto one of the plates for every time that he has died.
And how many
And-
coins does he place?
2.
Not a problem.
And in the morning, he wakes up to look to see the balance of the scales and if it has changed.
We'll deal with that next session, and we'll end our session there for the evening as you all find rest and turn in for the evening. I think it's a good place to finish up for tonight. We will carry on in 2 weeks' time, whether Nutty's here or not. So I said, if Jane's not here, Jane will be continuing to look into Leaf and the previous owners and dealing with the renovations of the Trollskull Alley. We may have a little bit more information about Leaf next session, or not. We might just move on to the next part of the story. So, because I know Nutty, when is the next one that you can do? Because it's kind of weird. Because next one we'll be doing on the 8th, and then we've got the 22nd. Because you can only do the 29th, can't you? So I know Grim can't do the 29th because it's on his late night.
My next one would be the 6th of next month. But the 29th would be, yeah, I've got the 29th and then the 6th.
6th of September is a Wednesday.
No, it's a Friday. No, I'm talking about October.
Oh, October, yeah.
I can't do September except for the 29th.
Yes, so we won't have Nutty for next month. So our next session will be the 8th of September, then will be the 22nd, and then the 6th of October. So the next one Nutty can join us for the 6th.
I'll be back on the 6th.
So we're going to run it every second week until then.
Did Elliot do his thing?
Oh no, I missed Elliot. Oh no.
Rude.
How rude. Elliot, you find your room. It's an absolute pigsty. No one's on. No, I'm joking. You find your room again, very sparse. I'm sorry. I knew I missed someone.
Oh, you're right.
What does Elliot do? I mean, Elliot's kind of freaked out right now, so it'd be interesting to see what he does.
So Elliot grabs himself a bottle of whiskey, which won't be hard to find, one would assume.
There is plenty of stores in the storeroom, and it's generally, I mean, I'd assume Jane keeps a pretty good inventory of things, so she probably would know that one's gone missing eventually, but not right now.
Jane would have put some aside for the party.
There you go then.
So a bottle and a glass, and he'd go to his room and he'd take off his clothes and he'd lay them out and he'd fold them, which I kind of imagine like very organized old men might do.
Yeah.
And then he pours himself a glass and he drinks, and then he realizes that the glass is a waste of time and he takes the bottle and he sits on his bed and he just sort of sits there for ages, just drinking and muttering to himself and cursing. He's like, this is what happens when you give a shit. It's all fucked. And he probably like sits there for a good 2.5 hours just
drinking,
fucking beside himself and drinking that bottle until it's got nothing left.
I would say easily enough done. With his age and experience, he's definitely drunk a lot over his years. He will drink himself into sleep eventually, probably collapsing on the bed, bottle still in his hand, hung over the side of the bed, eventually bottle dropping to the floor and rolling across the floor empty. One thing I will get you to do is, as you do pass out, what we will see in Elliot's room is an entity start to form at the end of his bed, looking over Elliot as he's passed out drunk, smiling, grinning from ear to ear. The look of victory, one would say. So Elliot, would you describe your patron? What does Elliot's patron look like as this entity forms and stands over a sleeping Elliot?
there's sort of like elements of, you know, similar to Elliot, a tiefling, but mostly it's just this sort of wisp of decayed dust, like you'd imagine, you know, from a scene where people had burnt to death, that just sort of wisp around, and there's just this face you can sort of see peering out of this just utter decay, and just every now and again you get a sense of like something that was living under there beforehand, and mostly tiefling features like horns. Every now and again it sort of wisps past and you'll see a horn. Just, yeah.
Just the almost the epitome of death and decay and despair. And I would imagine, obviously no one can see this. This is just something that is for the audience more so than the players. If anyone was to walk into Elliot's room, I think the whole air of the room would be nothing but despair and death, darkness, shadow. I would say as this happens, which is probably as you're drifting off to sleep, Zirxes, your scale that you've set up completely topples over onto the floor. The coins scatter and roll across the floor. You'd probably have to reset it up at some point. You would have heard it topple. And the flower that you set up at the door to possibly get a message from Leaf, as you sort of rise to sort of see what had knocked something over, you go to reset it back up and you notice the flower is not flower. It is, but it looks more like just ash, grey, black. It's odd. You sense the darkness in this place, and it's not coming from Leaf. And we'll leave it there. Now we'll call it an evening. Now that I remembered, Grim, thank you, Nutty, for reminding me.
I just read it in the chat. I was like,
Cheers, Neon.
Cheers, Neon. Whoever pointed it out.
Got you.
I'm sorry.
sorry, not sorry. What?
I didn't see that chat. So we're going to call it there. Before we finish up, though, we will just briefly go around our players, and we'll get a moment that stood out tonight with people, whether it's from your own character or someone else's character, just something that stood out to you in the RP or the storytelling, and then we'll finish up and we'll say good evening, and will we raid someone? We might raid someone. I don't know. We'll start with Grim. You're the first on my camera list there.
Yeah.
So we'll start with you. A moment from this evening.
I think I'd have to go with Zirxes sort of communicating with Leaf, and just the earnestness with which he's approaching that situation. And I think it stands out to me because my character is so like, you know, whatever the fuck, like, do what you want. But that juxtaposition where he's like really earnest about, you know, resolving Leaf's issue, and I just thought it was a great moment, and he played that really well. So
awesome.
Well done.
Duly noted. Nutty Tart, a moment from you as well.
I'm liking the way that Droplet just keeps disappearing, running off towards danger. It's like, what the fuck?
That's just Droplet, man.
And then hiding, and it's like, what are you doing?
No problem. Thank you very much. And Mr. Neon, a moment from you, good sir.
I think it all brings it right back to the start of the session for me, where we had Elliot referencing repeatedly that Droplet may now simply just be an arsonist and a liability. I thought that was beautiful little moments there, because nobody knows what's going on in that fucking bird's head. And it's starting to show.
Actually, that reminded me, did Elliot tell everyone that he'd heard from Yeth and that the Cabell's contract was forfeit and that she vowed revenge on Droplet or not? I don't remember whether you did.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know you let the Cabells know that the contract was good, that they're good now, but I don't know that you informed Droplet that he now has a devil vowing revenge against him.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
don't remember him saying that. So that
Sounds
could
like a
be
sign
interesting.
of a life well lived, though.
Yes.
Having a devil
I mean,
out for your blood.
100%. I mean, that's going to make things very cool for me, though. So I can bring that back at any time. But yes, Droplet the Arsonist. Zirxes, Sticks and Stones.
I think there was probably two things. One was the, for want of a better way to put it, the mother hen sort of feeling of something just broke. Who is it now? What is it now? There's a fire in the basement, running around just trying to fix everything and make sure everything's not wasting money all around the place from Jane. But I want to give a shout out as well to seeing a little bit more of Dags and seeing a little bit more of what Dags is about.
That was definitely the intention tonight, was to bring Dags into a little bit more of the forefront, which I did inform Dill that I was going to do. So we will see maybe a little bit more of Dags next session as well, as he may decide to go after his focus, hopefully. But that's a good segue. Dill! A moment from you.
It would probably be Droplet and the plate. just because it's Droplet.
I mean, Droplet's a cool character.
The whole shh. I'm not here.
Bark, bark.
Shh. Everest.
I'm not here either. It's a dog.
He's a grumpy pup. But yeah.
Nicely done. For me, a couple of moments. Droplet, as always. Droplet amuses the hell out of me. Droplet has cured my PTSD of Kenku, which is really good.
Did Droplet get a turn there?
Yes, Droplet's had a turn.
Just
It
checking.
was after you. I went and ordered the cameras.
Okay. I'm tired. Shut up.
But yes, Elliot as well, though. Just the grumpy old man is definitely coming out. Elliot being freaked out by his connection with Dags, definitely coming to light there, and obviously Dags stepping up and being a little bit more involved as well. But that's kind of the point. Dags is a quiet character. He's going to be quiet. But Zirxes, the way he's dealing with Leaf, I think is really cool, because I've made a slight change to the module, the way that they deal with it in the module, to suit my play style and to make it a little different for you guys as well. And I think you handled it pretty well. I didn't expect you to try and communicate with him, so that worked out really well in my books, and it gave me a chance to do something different, which is really awesome. Because we all know that I love to fly by the seat of my pants in these situations, and I never planned anything, so which can make for a very interesting story. But thank you, chat, for hanging out with us here on the Twitch while we do some D&Ds. Always appreciate you guys in the chat. Yes, sir.
One more shout out, if I can.
Sure thing.
To the Dungeon Master. For
Stop.
finding intricate ways to just interlink all these fucking backstories and characters and just fun mechanics that we never think are going to happen. It's great.
You realize
So
I
keep doing
don't
it.
plan any of that. I know. I'm in the moment going, okay, how can I connect everybody? Let's do it this way.
We were just like, ooh, shadowy tendrils. That'll be fucking cool. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of planned from back in, like, from the one shot, because of the way that Elliot revived Dags. It was kind of, okay, well, how am I going to do this? He's a warlock. He's not supposed to be able to revive anybody. Hey, he's got a patron that he hates. He's got to give in to the patron to give him the power to resurrect his friend, and now they're connected. Fuck it, why not? And it worked. So.
Exactly. But not many DMs that I've experienced do that kind of thing and maintain these connections throughout campaigns. So, fuck yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. as long as you guys are enjoying the story. That's my whole goal as a DM, is to have the players enjoy the story. As long as you guys are having fun and you're not bored, then I'm happy. And if that works, then that works. It's great. The biggest issue I have is sometimes I don't remember this stuff. And I'm glad I have VODs to go back on sometimes to remember this shit, because, man, trying to remember it the next day is sometimes very difficult. Recaps definitely help. But chat, you guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us. I will say we did not use one of our advantages, so I'm going to allow you guys to have that for next session. It was a sub, so we'll keep it for next session. I did not use my DM's advantage. I'm not going to keep that for next session, even though Trash dropped 10k channel points on it. I didn't get a chance to use it, so I'm not going to use it, but I'm going to allow you guys to keep your advantage for next session. So make sure you guys remember that and mark it down that you guys have an advantage to use as a group for a particular role if it is needed. You guys as a group can decide who gets to use it in any situation. And chat, in the future, as you can see below me here, every 100 bits or a sub gives the players an advantage, and it stays on the next roll, which is badly spelt. I need to fix that. But we'll just let them hold it anyway. So for every sub or 100 bits that you guys give the channel, the players will get an advantage to store up for future rolls. So with that being said, we're going to say good evening. I don't know that I'm going to raid tonight. I don't have many people on my list this evening, which is unusual for a Friday. So I think we're just going to say good evening. Make sure you follow Mr. Neon on the Twitch. Make sure you follow Mr. Magic the Gamer on the Twitch as well. I don't have my bot running, so no shout outs, but you guys know how to follow each other. Make sure you follow Neon, make sure you follow Magic, make sure you follow Error Code, Ziggy Dreadful. Who else we had in here tonight? We had Gunho. Hi Gunho, saw you there. JJ Aussie Punk, make sure you follow JJ as well. Lots of EFED stuff over there. Thank you for Dill, Ziggy, Era, and Styx for the subs tonight. I appreciate that very, very much. And we will see you guys possibly tomorrow night for a bonus stream over on Kick. Nutty's at work and I'm home alone. So why not stream? So why not? I don't know what I'm going to fucking play yet, but we'll figure something out. If we have enough people around, perhaps we could possibly do some more Baldur's Gate. So if those that are involved in the co-op teams, Mr. Luke playing fucking arsehole over here that kills fucking druids and shit. I think in our main co-op group it is Dill, Styx, and Neon, and myself. If you guys are available tomorrow evening sometime, doesn't matter whether it's early or late. I mean, I could start with some single player stuff. And if people are available later on in the evening, we can do some co-op maybe. And we'll see how we go.
I can tell you now, I've got my parents visiting this weekend.
No problem.
Tomorrow, so
we'll probably do some single player then. I'll do some probably single player. So if you're around, you're around. If you're not, you're not. But enjoy your parents coming to visit, Miss Neon. Hope they are well. And we will catch you guys tomorrow evening. I'm not going to do a day stream tomorrow, even though it's normally scheduled. Nutty's back at work tomorrow afternoon, so I won't be doing a day stream tomorrow, but we're doing a night stream instead. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Take care.